Hi, guys. Sorry for that little bit of a delay. For some reason, when I was in OBS and I went to start the stream, it was completely set up for a different YouTube account. I have no idea what happened, why it did that, but I had to just kind of redo some things real quick there and get that set up. Luckily, it didn't take too long. I am here. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Hopefully, everything is well. Uh, just want to say to those of you here in the States, I hope you had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. I know I had a good one for the most part. A couple of little weird things over the weekend. I'll talk about that in a second. But it was nice being off for a few days. My company I work for was actually closed Thursday and Friday, which was nice. And then I took off Monday to make it an extra nice, extra long weekend, which is always good. And of course, to any of you watching who may be north of the border, happy Canada Day. I know you guys had your day a few days before ours, so hope you guys had a good one there. And if anybody's watching from any place else in the world, I hope you had a nice weekend. I don't know, whatever you might or might not have been celebrating. I hope you enjoyed yourself. But yeah, we are back. We are here on a Wednesday evening to chat with you guys, to have some fun, to go over a few things. I thought it would be kind of fun tonight to talk a little bit about Amazon Prime Day. As so many of you know, Amazon Prime Day, which is really Amazon Prime Week, started yesterday, goes through Friday. So you got a bunch of days to take advantage of a bunch of sales. I know, sometimes things are limited and whatever, but a lot of the stuff you can get pretty much throughout the week on sale. So I thought we'd have some fun with that. In addition, I've got a few other little tidbits and some news things that I want to go over with you guys. So to start out, like I was talking about before with the 4th of July weekend, yeah, I had a pretty good one. Like I said, had a little bit of a weird day on Saturday. I was actually at a cousin's house for a barbecue for the day, but for some weird reason, I kept getting notifications that somebody or was trying to hack into a bunch of my accounts. I actually had to redo my password on Twitter and X, on Discord, LinkedIn, like a bunch of my social media sites. All of a sudden, somebody was just on the attack for me. So I want to redoing a bunch of passwords, setting up some two-factor authentication for a bunch of them. I don't know, who knows? Maybe that had something to do with why OBS was being weird just now. But yeah, just out of the blue, really, really weird. And I ran, some malware on my checks on my phone and my PC, and it didn't really come up with anything. So I don't know, just really strange. But let's get into everything. Let's say hi to who's in the chat here and kind of get some things started. I know I probably missed a few of the chats from the beginning of the show as I was getting, finishing everything set up. But I do see J-Rod is here. I see the B-Me is here, and he's not blocked. Which is good. I don't know why you would be blocked, because I certainly didn't block you. I know Jason didn't block you. Here's Jason Little Alien, our moderator. Thank you, as always, for being here and doing what you do for me, for the community. I definitely appreciate it. My good buddy Steve Sale is here. Always fun to play a round of Walkabout Golf with Steve. He's a good guy. He is, without a doubt, a ringer. When it comes to Walkabout Golf, he acts like he doesn't know what he's doing, and then he kicks your butt. So he's a good guy, a lot of fun to hang around with. Another good guy here. We got Brooklyn Menace in the house. Thank you so much for being here. My good buddy Glenn is here. Glenn's Retro Show. The future is not set. Save the future of home arcade. Support the GRS Build-A-Cade FU, and let's make home arcades great again. We're going to be talking a little bit about you tonight. I figured we'd give everybody an update on where the Kickstarter is and a few other things. So I am glad you are here. And hopefully you'll get that prototype soon so we can check it out, because I'm dying to check it out. Rich Ongren is here. Good to see you. Let's see who else. James Hates Everything is here. Oh no, Mr. Bill. Good to see you as always, James. Oh, Evil Genius Entertainment. Thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. Love your stuff, you guys. If you haven't checked out Evil Genius Entertainment's YouTube channel, be sure you check him out for sure. He always puts up some great content. Angelo P is here. Biggie D's Arcade is also here. Be sure you check out his YouTube channel as well. And I think I'm pretty much caught up on everybody. If I missed anybody, throw a shout out in the chat and we'll say hi to you. All right, let's jump in. I want to start out, like I said, with an update here. Let me get all my stuff together. Make sure I've got this up to the latest thing. I think I do. Yeah, here we go. No, anytime, brother. Anytime. All right, so let's start out with this. The GRS Build-A-Cade FU Kickstarter is in full swing. Got a little over a month left, 46 days to go on this. Already well over its $200,000 goal, sitting at almost $440,000. 228 backers on it so far, but still plenty of time to get in on the Kickstarter if you haven't had a chance to do it yet. And not only that, but there's still some of the super early bird specials left on this. If you wanted to get in at the lowest price, the non-tariff price for the Build-A-Cade, you've still got a few slots left. There are 28 left of the 19-inch Build-A-Cade at $9.99, and there are 41 left of the 26-inch screen, the $1,200 one. So there is still plenty of time to get in on that. Of course, if you wanted to get in on some of the other deals like the mega packs that come with all the control decks and things, there are still some of those left. Wow, the 19-inch version of the Mega Pack is down to 15 left. So that one is actually going pretty fast. And there's only 5 left of the 26-inch screen version of this. Wow, you guys are really snapping up these versions with the control decks and everything on them. So there's only a few left of those if you want to get in on those. And of course, the Super Mega bundle that has the 2 cabinets, one 19-inch, one 26-inch, and a bunch of those left. But wow, still 11 backers to that, which is pretty cool. So congratulations to Glenn on a very, very successful Kickstarter launch. We had a blast a couple of weeks ago when we did the countdown to the launch. It was a lot of fun having Glenn on. Thanks, Glenn, for putting up with me for the hour as we went through it. I think we had a pretty good time. It was a lot of fun. And, of course, Jason is on the ball here, putting the link to the Kickstarter in the chat. So be sure you guys go ahead and check that out. Beamy says the 26 control deck with all the control decks is the best option. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Now, in addition, if you also wanted to pick up something else from GRS, well, he's got a pretty good sale going on right now. You can get 40% off the GRS Rotary Super Joystick, aka the Ikari Warriors joystick, by using code Ikari40 when you check out on this. Now, this normally goes for $80. I believe this is going to bring it down somewhere in the neighborhood of like $42 or $43, somewhere in there with that code. I forget what it was. I did check it out earlier, but whatever 40% from 80 is, that's what it's going to knock it down to. So if you wanted to pick up one of the Ikari Warriors stick, I've got mine right here. Still a lot of fun. It's actually pretty cool when you plug it into the RK with the KVM switcher and try to play your Ikari Warriors that way. But be sure to check it out. Like I said, Ikari40 is the code if you want to pick this up. Yeah, I think we had a good time. Goofy Foot is here. Keep that space between FU and Kickstarter. Glenn doesn't read well without it. We got B. Kirby, the Chicago arcade guy, is here. Always good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Definitely appreciate it. But there you go. That is a little bit of what is going on with GRS. So again, very happy for Glenn with the Kickstarter. And of course, if you wanted to check out that Akari Warrior stick, go ahead and do that as well. Mr. Promotion himself, GRS Akari Warrior Super Joystick, fully SNK licensed, and the best in the Milky Way galaxy. Always good. And of course, there's Jason again with a link to it in the chat. Always on the ball there. All right. So like I said, I got a bunch of fun things that I want to talk about tonight, but there is one thing that I really do want to mention and talk about that's not so fun. And I apologize in advance because this one's going to be a little bit of a downer. But it's something that I really feel like I have to mention. So I don't know how many of you know this particular YouTuber, but there's a guy who goes by the name of PatmanQC. Now, he has been on YouTube for the last several years. He started around the same time as a lot of, from what I understand, as a lot of the other guys in the community around 2018 or so. And he is very well known on his channel for doing the history of video games, the history of different games and stuff. Here is his his YouTube channel right here. He's done over 300 videos, most of these all on the history of games. Really good stuff, very informative, very entertaining. The reason I bring him up is because unfortunately we just heard like a day or so ago that he passed away. Apparently he had a stroke a couple of years ago and has had complications from that. So like I said, it's a real downer, but I just wanted to mention him. I wanted to honor him for a couple of minutes on the channel. Let me see, for those of you who have never seen him, this is a picture of him with Tim Kitzrow. Oh, this is not how I wanted to bring this up, but that's okay. So this is PatmanQC with Tim Kitzrow. For those of you who didn't know, Patman was actually a quadriplegic. He lost his arms and his legs due to complications from pneumonia, I believe it was, several years ago. But he was still into playing video games, still, really prolific in making these videos and stuff. So this is a guy who I really will be missed. This is one of those guys that I really got into watching. One of the reasons that I wanted to be on YouTube and do a lot of the stuff that I do. So rest in peace, Patman. You're definitely going to be missed. And again, for those of you, if you don't know who this is, if you've never checked out his YouTube channel, go ahead and check it out. You're going to enjoy the stuff that he puts out there. Like I said, his history, always entertaining, always informative. And all I will say to honor him is, again, check out his YouTube channel. You'll be glad you did. All right, let me get back into some more fun stuff now. Like I said, I didn't want to bring the room down, but I did. Like I said, I wanted to honor him. I wanted to mention him for just a few minutes. J-Rod, so sad, such a great guy. Been struggling for a while in and out of the hospital. His gaming documentaries were amazing and filled with so much information. That's one of the things I loved about him. He really did know his stuff, and he made it fun. He made it fun. So God bless Patman and his family. He was amazing. I was able to bowl. Yeah, that was another thing too. He was like a pinballer or something, wasn't he? Which again, I mean, think about it. Without the use of his full use of his arms and his legs, and still able to do all this stuff, I mean, God, what excuse do we have sometimes for feeling sorry for ourselves? But yeah, definitely will be missed. All right, let me move on to the next thing here. So Another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about this real quick, and I know a lot of you guys have seen this before. Let me find. Let's see, where is the info on this one? So this is actually something that I shared last week sometime, and this is some information on shipments coming in from Basic Fun. And one of the things that I noticed on this when I was looking over this was this Mortal Kombat Arcades Classic. And I wound up putting up a post about this, and just to kind of set the record straight for a minute, because I know different people have been putting up videos on this, and certain people have been putting up videos kind of making fun of this a little bit. I'll just kind of leave it at that. But I want to set the record straight on this. So I did see this. I did post it on Facebook and YouTube and a couple other places. I even posted it in a couple of Discord chats to people. And almost immediately, I got a response in one of the Discords from P-Dub's Arcade Loft letting me know that this is probably a product that came out about 5 years ago initially, and it's this. It's another one of their handhelds, this Mortal Kombat handheld arcade game. This came out about 5 years ago. As a matter of fact, P-Dubs did a video on it around that time. So he's the one who let me know about this. This is not something, if you go to the Basic Fun website, this is not something you're going to currently see there, which is something that kind of is what threw me off, and I thought this might be something new. So, like I said, when I put this post up about the incoming container with the stuff on it, and then almost immediately, as soon as I found out from that this was something old, I edited that post. I mean, probably not within like 5 minutes or so, to mention the fact that this is something that they've done before, that it's most likely a re-release of this mini handheld. But of course, that hasn't stopped people from speculating and wondering what they might be doing in the future. And there's no problem with that, because I'll be honest with you, I'm wondering if them bringing this back after a few years of really it not being available is a precursor to the fact that maybe they might bring a larger Mortal Kombat to their lineup as well, to go along with the Ultras and the Supremes and things like that. As a matter of fact, I can pretty much guarantee you, if they did a Mortal Kombat in that Supreme or XL that they plan on doing, I think even people who've owned Mortal Kombat before, would probably be really interested in something like this. But I didn't want it to seem like that's what I was saying, like that's what I thought this was going to be. I really did believe, and still do believe, that whatever they're bringing across, it's probably just a refresh and a rehash of this. Now, also, of course, there's been speculation. Does that mean that Arcade 1-Up no longer has the Mortal Kombat license? Well, not necessarily, because first off, this is in a handheld format, which is very different from what Arcade 1-Up produces. These, from what I understand, were also, I think, the Genesis ROM on them. They were not the arcade ROM, for sure. I believe they were the Genesis version of the game on this, which is, again, a very different thing from the arcade ROM. So those licenses can be very different, and those licenses are most likely very different. So it doesn't necessarily mean one company having it versus another not having it, or something like that. But who knows? Could they be bringing this back because they do plan on bringing a larger version of Mortal Kombat out in the future, and they want to maybe test the waters again by re-releasing this? It's possible. But if you've seen any of the posts about this and whatever, just know that for me, this is what I think it is, and this is probably all it is right now. So just wanted to set the record straight on that a little bit. for those of you who were wondering, or for some of the people out there who like to poke fun at us speculating about what companies like Basic Fun are going to be doing. And I'll leave it at that. Got a couple more people jumping into the live chat here. Let's say hi to Adam Kalb. Who else did I see here? Stock Shock. Always good to see you, brother. Glad you could join us. Ted Adam Green is here as well. Good to see you. Mike Hawkhurst, they don't call it basic because of its elegance. Yeah, well. It is what it is, that's for sure. But we'll see. Like, you know, do I hope that at some point they'll bring out a larger version of something like a Mortal Kombat? Sure, absolutely. Like I said, even if we've seen it a bunch of times before, it doesn't mean that they couldn't do something else with it. And like I said, if they bring it out in their Supreme or XL, whatever you want to call it, version, that's something that people have been asking Arcade 1-Up to do for years. So if they can get it done, I think it'd be smart for them. No, people poke fun at YouTubers? I don't believe it. I know, it's a shock, right? Came as a shock to me. I'm not mentioning any names. I'm just going to leave it at there. I think some of you are savvy enough to know who I might be talking about, but I'll just leave it at that. All right. A couple more pieces of news that I wanted to cover, and then we could talk a little bit about Amazon Prime Day. Now, I don't know how many of you have or are interested in the Polymega gaming console. But for those of you who either have it or have been considering it for a while, well, they just put out an update which has added a feature that people have been asking for pretty much since the console went live. So the Polymega 1.1.35 update finally brings Lightgun support. So the Polymega has now added support for light guns, and they even have their own light gun controller that you can buy, which I believe is based on Sinden technology. But they've added a ton of different games that you can play on the Polymega using a light gun if you want. You can see the list here, bunch of NES games, Super NES games. You've got Genesis games on here, Sega CD. You've got Saturn games that can be played, PS1 games on here that can be played. No arcade games, but then again, I don't believe Polymega is designed to play arcade games. I think it's more for, for classic consoles and things like that anyway. But apparently this update has also done some other, added some other features and fixed some other things as well. But said, if this is something that you've been interested in or that you own, you've been waiting for light gun support, well, it's now here. And it said this is the Polymega website. It's not a cheap unit, that's for sure. The base unit plus wireless controller is around $550. But the interesting thing is, where is it? Their gun controller wasn't that expensive. $109 for a gun controller, especially if it is, it's Sinden technology. The Sinden light guns by themselves are usually right around like $200 or so to get a Sinden light gun. So for $100 to get one for this controller, and you can get a 10%. Looks like you can get a 10% discount if you buy two of them. So I think that's pretty cool. You said this is not really a console that I'm particularly interested in getting myself. I think it's, like I said, a little bit expensive for what you get. But I figured I would throw this out there for anybody who was interested. Nice to see a light gun add-on, but that thing is ugly AF. It is a little bit stout, isn't it? It's definitely on the short side, huh? But look, it's a light gun. It's Sinden technology, so it should work pretty good. And yeah, hopefully, like I said, anybody who is interested, well, now you know. All right, let me hit on this one real quick. I know a lot of you have, follow AtGames and all, and according to the AtGames calendar, they were supposed to release a brand new Zen pinball pack today. Now, the pinball pack was going to be Honor and Legacy. Honor and Legacy is it's got 2 Zen original tables on it, a Samurai's Vengeance and Vern's Mysterious Island. Not necessarily stubby. Thank you. Actually, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Fat Hog Dean. I appreciate it. English not so good sometimes. All right, back to this. Honor and Legacy, Zen Originals, not necessarily the pack that everybody was excited for, but just to let you guys know, it does look like it has been postponed. It didn't come out today, not going to come out today. As of right now, we don't have a release date for this one. Looks like it's going to be $15 when it comes out, which is a little expensive for 2 tables, if you ask me. Especially when they're Zen Originals and not like, Williams tables or a big IP like Tomb Raider or something like that. So I don't know if this is a sign of things to come in terms of pricing for them. Again, it's not out of the ordinary. There's been, $15 single tables, but again, those are usually some bigger IPs like Star Trek or things like that. This being a Zen Original, I'm not sure what the price is about there on this, but like I said, if you're looking forward to playing this one today, unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer on it. Like I said, we do not have a release date yet, so we'll have to wait and see. Now, this may be a symptom of bigger issues going on at AtGames right now, because from what I understand, and I didn't see a post on this necessarily, but from AtGames, but I did see somebody asking about the Flipper Friends in Reddit, and it looks like the Flipper Friends that was supposed to start last Thursday got postponed or something. So they may be having, again, some internal issues that need to get worked out. And again, since it was very likely that these 2 tables were going to be part of the 4K Flipper Friends starting this Friday and next Friday, we'll have to wait and see what goes on from there. Yeah, I know, guys. I know. It's a shame. It's a shame. I've always said I'm a fan. I enjoy a lot of the stuff that they put out. Again, disclaimer, I am part of their media group and whatever. So from time to time, they do give me some info. They do provide me with some tables to review and things like that. Right now, I've heard nothing from them on what the delay is on this. I don't necessarily expect to. But I just figured I'd let you guys know, just in case you were wondering what was going on with this, if you were looking to pick this up and wondering why it was on hold. Well, I don't know why, but I do know it's on hold. So I just figured I would let you guys know that. All right, let's see. What else do I have on my list? Let's talk about this for a minute, because I thought this was kind of fun. Could have been something as simple as a small gameplay bug they found in testing. Would rather they didn't announce anything till it's ready. I can agree with that. Like I said, I'm just wondering if there are some other things going on in the background, because I did hear somebody say something about Flipper Friends wasn't running or something like that. But I don't know. Again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out when they're ready to let us know, as usual. I would love to interview the Magic Pixel people if I could figure out who they are and get in touch with them. But we'll see. All right, so I'm sure you guys heard about this too. I figured this would be fun to bring up. Chuck E. Cheese launches new arcade for adults in 10 states. Chuck's Arcade will include nostalgic arcade games such as Ms. Pac-Man, Galaga, and Mortal Kombat. This is the kind of thing that I know for a lot of us of a certain age, that we really enjoy. We enjoy going to places that have more of the old school arcade games in them, more so than some of the newer places that are out there, like Round One or Dave and Buster's. Although I do like those places, I do think that they're a lot of fun. I think there's some newer games out there that can be a lot of fun to play. But I am definitely curious to check out one of these. Jason is saying, I heard the choice of games to play at the new Chuck's Arcade is pretty lackluster. So, interesting. But it's certainly something that I would love to check out. I think, to be honest with you, probably the Trumbull, Connecticut one is probably the closest one to me. I'm actually not even sure where Victor, New York is. I think that's pretty far upstate from me. But if I ever get over to this part of Connecticut, which is like an hour or so away, I'll definitely have to check it out. But it looks like the places they are right now is St. Petersburg, Florida, Trumbull, Connecticut, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, Victor, New York, Beaufort, Georgia, El Paso, Texas, Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire, St. Louis, and Kansas City, Missouri. And there's one coming to Bray, California pretty soon. So if you're in or near any of those places, check it out and get back to us and let us know if it's any good or if it's like Jason says and pretty lackluster. Kids not allowed to trick you? No, actually, I don't know if you're kidding or not, but no, it's not. It's not an adults only place. I think it's just designed more around nostalgia for adults. It doesn't have like the animatronics that Chuck E. Cheese did. It probably doesn't have as many of like the redemption games that a Chuck E. Cheese would. But certainly, the kids are definitely allowed to go to this as well. Oh, MG is in the house. Let me see here. I got banned from Chuck E. Cheese for trying to trade my tickets for a pizza slice. Apparently, they have a strict no pizza for tickets policy, and I apparently broke it repeatedly. I could definitely understand that. Does Chuck's now have beer? I don't know. I do not know if they serve beer there. I would imagine they serve food. They possibly could serve beer there. Why not? They need to take over my local. Round One went last week, and 8 of the 10 pinball machines were out of order. I'll tell you a little story about that real quick. So there is a Round One near, not too far from me, in Danbury, Connecticut, that I like to go to every once in a while. I actually went there on Thursday when I was off work. My daughter and I went there. We played for a little while, and I got nervous. And now they don't have a lot of pinball machines at this particular one. There's only about 4 of them there, but they got a couple of really good ones. They've got Iron Maiden, they've got Deadpool, they've got AC/DC, and they've got Aerosmith. And I love the Iron Maiden table, one of my favorites, and Deadpool's a lot of fun too. But I went there, and they weren't in the normal place where they keep the pinball machines. They had put a bunch of different, not claw machines. There's a ton of claw machines in round one. Round one is like mostly claw machines. But they put more of those like gotcha machines and different things in the area where the pinball machines were. And I got nervous. I thought, oh, crap. They took out the pinball machines. That's one of the reasons I like to come here. They just moved them to a place. They actually moved them to a place closer to the front of the entrance. And I just missed it when I went in there. So I was very happy to see that they still had it. I got to play my Iron Maiden, got to play Deadpool. So I was very happy about that. I wish they'd get more pinball machines in. I wish they'd get some of the newer Stern ones. I've played Dungeons and Dragons. Haven't seen X-Men yet. Would love to see X-Men. Would love to see the new King Kong and a bunch of the other ones. But yeah, they made me real nervous for a minute because I thought they got rid of the pinball machines. And it's one of the few reasons I really like to go there. Oh, let's see. What else is everybody playing? Let's see. If it's for adults, then they should have alcohol. Pretty much the same lineup they have here, plus Guardian, Star Wars, and Metallica. Yeah, they seem to be pretty big on the music themed ones, the band themed ones. Like I said no issues with Maiden because I love the Maiden table. AC/DC's pretty good too. Aerosmith, I don't like that one as much for whatever reason. I'd love to try the Metallica one. I don't think I've ever tried that one, but Guardians is okay. Star Wars is fun. All right, let's move on. And the last thing to go over tonight is Amazon Prime Day. And like I said, I pulled up a bunch of different things that I saw earlier today that I thought would be fun to show to you guys in case you missed them. Ton of stuff, obviously, for Prime Day. It's easy to miss stuff, but I pulled up some things that I thought would be interesting for you guys to check out. But before we move right over to Amazon, you guys should be aware that if you're an Amazon Prime member, that also means you have access to Amazon Prime Gaming. And they've got a bunch of free games going on. They've always got a bunch of free games going on, but they've got some now, I guess, specifically during Prime Day for you to check out. I think probably the two biggies here that might be worth a look, and I'm going to check these out. Well, actually, I already have this one, but I definitely want to check this one out. It would be Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, which is a classic. You can get this to play on good old games, Galaxy of Games, GOG, whatever you want to call it. Midnight Suns is also a freebie that they're giving away. This can be played on the Epic Game Store. Again, these are all, remember, these are all PC-based, so these are not for consoles or anything. These are all going to be played on PC. If you're a soccer fan and you like sports management games, Football Manager 2024, also available. Bunch of other games here, some of which might be worth a check. Dungeon of the Endless, Thief is is an old fun game. So if you don't have that one's definitely one to check out. Some that they've had for a while, but they still have available. A couple of the Saints Row games, Star Wars Rebellion, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered is good also. You can see I already picked up that collection. But there's a bunch of cool stuff on here. So definitely go ahead and check this out. The Marvel game is big. I will tell you, I've heard mixed reviews about Midnight Suns, but it's still something that for free I will absolutely get and check out. And I agree with this one for sure. The Tomb Raider remasters are definitely worth it. They are a lot of fun. I got a pair of crutches for Prime Day. Seems like everyone is breaking their legs nowadays, so I wanted to be safer than sorry. So, is that a preemptive purchase, or did you do something, buddy? Let me know. Do I need to be worried about you? Did you fall off the recliner when you fell asleep playing Walkabout Golf? That's what I really want to know. Did you fall off the recliner and hurt yourself? All right, Amazon Prime Day. Let's talk about it. Let's go through some stuff here. I'll start with this one, and I actually posted this in a couple of places for you guys to check out already. But really, like if you're interested in Arcade 1-Up or any, of their stuff, they've only got one thing on sale for Prime Day, and that's this. It's the Infinity Game Board. 20% off from $4.99 down to $3.99. I don't know if people think that's worth it or not. I know a lot of people would probably rather see this at closer to maybe a $2.99 than a $3.99. But hey, look, it's $100 off, which if you've been interested in picking this up and you haven't yet, might be a pretty good deal to check out. So yeah, Arcade 1-Up, Infinity Game Board, $3.99 down from $4.99. I push MG off the cliff in the Raptor clips. Oh, Squeaker! Steve, you bad boy, you. All right, here's another really good one for all of you AtGames fans out there. And of course, I was just talking about the fact that you could play Tomb Raider for free through Amazon Prime. But of course, like I said, that's on PC or, you know, maybe on your Steam Deck or something like that if you want to take it with you. But if you own an Evercade and you wanted to pick up the Tomb Raider collection for your Evercade, this is a really good deal. 60% off. Instead of $25, this is down to $10.31. So this is definitely a can't miss. If you're an Evercade fan, if you like to collect the cartridges, if you like the games, I think this is a really good one to pick up. So be sure you check this one out. Now, if you've been looking into getting into VR so you can come with me and MG and Steve and all the other guys and play Walkabout Mini Golf, well, the MetaQuest 3S is on sale. They've got the 128 gig version and the 256 gig version. I believe both of these are on sale. The 128 gig version is down to $250 from $300, 17% off. It's going to come with Gorilla Tag as the free game. The 256 gig, probably the better version, also includes a better game, Batman Arkham Shadows, although from what I understand, Gorilla Tag is a lot of fun. This was a bargain. I picked it up despite not owning the console. But this is down 18%. Instead of being $400, it's down to $330. So, again, another really good deal on the MetaQuest 3S. If you wanted to pick this up, I said this Batman game, awesome. If I didn't already own this, and I think, and I own the 128 gig version when it came with Batman as the free game with it. But I would probably go, if I didn't already own it, I'd probably go with the 256 just to have the extra space and to have the better game on it. So definitely this is one to check out as well. Yeah, the Xbox edition is out. I did not see that on the Prime sale. So I would actually have to put a nod to this one only because they're the exact same console. The only thing different is that the Xbox One is black with Xbox branding on it. It doesn't really do anything different from what I understand compared to the normal 3S. So with a sale price on this, I think you can't go wrong with this over the Xbox edition for sure. Now, if you're a PC gamer and you're looking to upgrade your PC, then there's a bunch of different graphics cards and things on sale. I know I did see a Radeon on sale as well. I'm an NVIDIA fan. I've actually got a 3070 in the PC that I'm running now. I would love to upgrade at some point. I know the 5060 isn't necessarily top of the line. I know a lot of people would probably prefer a 5070, but the 56, but this is actually the 5060 Ti, which if I remember my numbering correctly, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, is kind of in between the 5060 and the 5070. It's a step above the 5060. So one of their high-end, top of the line graphics cards, 15% off, normally $470 down to $398. Pretty good deal for one of these for sure. They've got a few other, looks like they've got a few others on sale. They've got this dual black version down to $379, so even a little bit cheaper than the other one. But yeah, definitely worth, like I said, if you're in the market to upgrade your PC, upgrade the graphics on it, and you were looking for one of the 5000 series, then this is definitely something you could check out. All right, controllers. Ton of controllers on sale. Wired, wireless, Nintendo, 8-bit do, PC, whatever. I picked this one for a few reasons. This is an Xbox wireless gaming controller. This is one of their newer versions. You can see available in an array of colors. not all of them are necessarily going to be the same price, but the black one, 27% off, normally $65, down to $47.50 on this wireless. You can use this with your Xbox, your PC, your VR headset, all kinds of different stuff. So if you've been in the market for a controller, this is definitely one to pick up. Now, the reason I bring this one up is because another thing you might want to consider is this. Now, this is one of their 4K Fire TV sticks. This is their newest model. 50% off. These normally go for $50, down to $24.99, $25 for this one. Amazon always puts a lot of their own stuff on sale. If you've been interested in getting a Fire tablet or an Echo device or anything like that, a lot of those are going to be on sale. I wanted to bring this up because some of you might not be aware of the fact that you can actually use this for cloud gaming. For me, for my normal like video streaming, TV and whatever, I typically use a Roku. But I do own a Fire TV stick as well that I use from time to time. I'm actually considering picking this up and upgrading the version that I have to this newer version, just because it's such a great price. And like I said, you can actually do cloud gaming on this. Now, Amazon's got their Luna cloud gaming, which again, if you're a Prime member, you can play a bunch of games for free through that as well. But I believe you can also do Xbox cloud gaming on the Fire TV stick as well. So, pair that with this controller and you've got a gaming system for less than $75, basically. I know you've got to pay for the Xbox Game Pass and whatever and all to be able to play the cloud gaming and all that stuff, but it could work if you've been interested in doing some cloud gaming. It's at these prices, it's worth picking up. And if nothing else, the Fire TV stick is great for streaming YouTube and Netflix and all those kind of things as well. If you don't have something to do that, or if you're not a big fan of the built-in stuff on your smart TV, so this is one I would highly recommend. What else we got? Now I'm bringing this one up basically because I'm a really big fan of it. I have this. I have this same one. I have the one in white, because when I bought it, the white one was actually a little bit cheaper than the black one. Here it's actually reverse. The black one is $109. The white one is $119. So this is a little bit cheaper, 27% off. Normally $150 for this, but this thing comes in really handy for a lot of things. This is not just, don't think that this is just for, YouTube streamers, Twitch streamers, or things like that. Yes, I use it for that. And I really like the way I have it set up for when I'm streaming. But I also use it for a lot of other things too. Like, I work from home most days, and I've actually got a profile on the Stream Deck for work. When I sit down in the morning to work, I've got to connect to my VPN. Then I've got to bring up Outlook for my email. I got to bring up Teams. I got to bring up a couple of other programs. I've got to bring up 2 or 3 websites, which we use for like project tracking and client management and things like that. I literally have a macro key on my Stream Deck that's called Start Work. I hit that, and it brings up all that stuff for me in one shot. And then, we use Teams a lot, so I've got controls on here for Teams. I can answer calls. I can share on my desktop. I can kind of move around in Teams between chat and call people and stuff like that. So I tell you, it comes in really handy for a lot of things. So don't just think that the Stream Deck is for, those of us who, do YouTube streaming or Twitch streaming or whatever. So, if you've been interested in picking something like this up, at 109, it's a pretty good deal. I definitely have to say. Thanks, Biggie. I appreciate that. All right, I got a couple more things that I want to share, and then I'm pretty much wrapped up for the day. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show tonight. Definitely make sure you hit that like button before you leave, because it absolutely helps the channel out, and I definitely appreciate it. And get you done in just a couple of minutes here so you guys can move over to Arcades Anonymous. I will have it redirect to them after the show like I usually do, so you can be sure to check them out if you want. So just a couple last things. Everybody's always looking for memory, for micro SDs and things like that. This one looked like a pretty good bargain from Samsung. It's got I thought it was cute because it's got the the Sonic the Hedgehog branding on it, but 512 gig for less than $29. This is normally $43, 34% off. You can use it in your Steam Deck, in your original Switch. I don't think these work in the Switch 2. I think you've got to have something, a particular card for the Switch 2, if I remember correctly. But you are so bad, MG. You really are so bad. But definitely, this looks like one to check out. Like I said, there's a ton of micro SDs and things on sale during Prime Day. This one looked like a pretty good deal, 512 gig for $28, and it's got Sonic on it. So how can you go wrong? And then I think this is the last one that I wanted to bring up really quick. Not Switch 2. Switch 2. You need a very specific Switch 2 branded micro SD cards. You can't just use any one, which sucks, but again, is what it is. So this is the Atari 7800 Plus console. This is one of their newer consoles that they brought out. It plays 7800 games. It also plays 2600 games, I believe. It plays the 2600 games, plays 7800 game cartridges, the original ones from back in the day, plus newly created ones for the console. Normally goes for $130. So this is over 54% off. This is down to $60. So if this is one that you were kind of curious about, but didn't really want to pay over $100 for it, at $60, this one is probably worth a look. Evil Dead Genius just put that Atari 700 in my cart. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, for $60, this is probably one worth checking out. I might actually check it out myself. I have been curious about this one for sure. So I've got the ColecoVision add-on to play the Atari 2600 games on my original ColecoVision. Something like this to play my Atari games, to also be able to play 7800 games, which I can't do right now, I think would be really, really cool. So this one, I think, is definitely a bargain to check out. My call cards, $59 is a deal, but I know I will never use it, and it will go in a pile of 10 other mini consoles that I've never opened. Yeah, I get that. Like I said, I got a bunch of these consoles as well that, for the most part, sit there. I do play them from time to time, but not as often as I convinced myself I would when I bought them. That's for sure. I bought it a long time ago for the collection, but used the 2600 Plus myself. This is perfect for $60 paperweight or doorstop. Yeah, I get it. Been wanting one for a while. Good for you. So I'm glad. Listen, I'm always excited when people get something that they're interested in, that they want to check out and they want to play, even if it's not something that I would necessarily be interested in myself. That's what makes the hobby so great. That's what makes gaming so great, is we don't have to all like the same things. We can like different things and enjoy what we enjoy, and not worry about what we don't enjoy. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of that? Just because somebody likes one thing and you like something else, it doesn't take away from what you like. That's for sure. Sega Master System is pretty much the start of my cartridge collection. Definitely a good one. Yeah, Sega Master System. That was not one. So I grew up a Nintendo guy for sure. I mean, after said the ColecoVision was my first console. After the ColecoVision, after the whole gaming crash, when things started to come back with Nintendo, that's where I went, and that's where I tended to stay pretty much until Sony came out with the PlayStation. And then I've kind of been back and forth between the two. A lot of times I'll have one of each. Like right now I've got a PS5, I've got a Switch. So there's that. So I never grew up personally owning the Master System or the Genesis, but one of my best friends was a Sega guy. He had both of those. He had the Master System first and then the Genesis. So we would always hang out. Like, we'd go to his house, we'd play his Sega games. We'd come to my house, we'd play the Nintendo games. So, and we always talk about, obviously the rivalry back in the day, Nintendo versus Sega, which one was better and whatever. But let's face it, that was mostly manufactured by the companies themselves to pit their products against each other for the public. If you owned a Nintendo and your buddy owned a Sega, you were excited because you got to play both, man. And you didn't care. You didn't care. This is so true. This is 100% true. The NES was almost the ColecoVision too. They actually share a lot of the internals share a lot in common with what ColecoVision was planning for their second iteration. A console that would have come out if not for the early to mid 80s game crash. It was in the planning stages. A lot, but some of you may or may not know, then ColecoVision came out with their Atom computer, which I also owned. It was my first computer, which I liked, but that thing between that and the game crash, that completely tanked Coleco and their ColecoVision line. They had more trouble with that Atom computer. It got delayed on launch. It had issues with people returning it. Luckily, I never had an issue really with mine. Mine worked pretty well, but yeah, that it would have been the Coleco too if things had gone a different way. My friend didn't have a Sega, I had both, but he did have a smoking hot mom with fantastic. So we used to split our time between houses despite the lack of games. Look, you got to get your entertainment somehow. You've got to get your entertainment somehow. Thumper Squid, hello, wonderful gamers. I've been lurking for a while, busy tonight working on the house. Well, I am glad you were here and listening, at least, I hope. So glad to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Always appreciate it. Casey Munchkin and Pickaxe Pete. Those are some Magnavox Odyssey classics for sure. One of these days when the news is pretty light, and let's face it, I got a pretty good guarantee that is something that may happen in the future. Has happened quite a bit. Maybe I'll do a stream and kind of go back in time and talk about my first consoles and different things, and we can kind of revisit some of the classics and talk about what people liked from back in the day. I think that would be a fun stream. What do you guys think? Maybe we'll do that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. All right, I think we will end it here. It's 5 after 9. I actually do have something else I'm supposed to be doing. Actually, should have been doing an hour ago instead of this, but chose to do this instead. So I'm going to get going. I'm going to send you guys over to Arcades Anonymous, and I'll see you guys next week. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. give me a thumbs up, give me a like before you leave. And if you're not a member of the channel yet, go ahead and consider that as well, because it definitely helps things out behind the scenes. That is all for this week, and I'll see you guys again soon. Take care, and happy gaming. You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.